Hello, my name's Tom Scheffler. I'm a member of the NLIP project.
NLIP stands for Natural Language Interaction Protocol.
And it consists of members from industry and academia working together to define an open protocol for use in agent-to-agent interactions. We believe that by enabling an open ecosystem of agent services, the developers developing user-facing applications and agent-facing applications will all benefit. To show the power of this approach, we put together a proof of concept demonstration that I'm going to show today. So let's get going. Okay. All right. NLIP agent to agent. All right. So we believe natural language will be ubiquitous. It'll be used between human-facing applications and agents, and also for agent-to-agent applications. So in the future, you may think of having a standard application that either by text or audio, you'll contact a specialized agent, interact with it. That agent may ask for help from other agents. And we believe that by having a standard protocol for each of these links, everyone will benefit. We'll make it easier for agent developers to develop against one universal interface, and also for the user agent developers to have one interface to interface with agents. So in our proof of concept, I'm going to show a multi-agent network configuration that looks like this. On the front end, we have a user who's using a chat application called Kiwi Mach 2. This looks like a traditional chat application. On the back end, it speaks NLIP. So it can connect to any NLIP-enabled agent server. And we've got three agents. I'll start on the right. On the right, we have an AlleyCat agent. AlleyCat is an example program from the AI Alliance that shows how to scrape a website to implement a RAG-based application. Now, we've augmented this demonstration by giving it a server that exposes an NLIP interface. This allows any NLIP enabled application to call it, whether that application is an agent or the chat application that we've got on the left. We've implemented another agent called the weather agent. This weather agent has a tool then it knows how to call weather.gov to look up the weather. And in the middle, we've shown the NLIP coordinator agent. Now, first notice that the NLIP coordinator agent speaks NLIP on the front end to talk to the chat application. It also speaks NLIP on the back end to talk to other agents. Inside the NLIP coordinator agent, there's an LLM. The LLM, augmented with prompts, is implementing what's like the business logic in a traditional application. It's also got a tool. It's got a tool that is an NLIP client, so it knows how to call other agents, and it keeps a conversation history. The details of the other two agents, the weather agent has a conversation history, an LLM. It's also been given a special NLIP prompt that tells it how to be an NLIP agent, and it's been given a tool so it can call weather.gov, look up weather information. And the AlleyCat agent, it scraped a website called McLaren Labs that knows about MIDI, and put that knowledge into a vector database. It's also been augmented with an NLIP prompt and has an NLIP interface on the front end. All right, so how do we do agent to agent with NLIP? Well, an agent is served by an NLIP server, and it's augmented with an NLIP capabilities prompt. And you'll see what the NLIP capabilities prompt tells this agent to do. The coordinator agent is given an NLIP client as a tool, so this enables it to call other NLIP agents, but it's also augmented with additional prompt instructions in natural language. It's taught how to use the client, how to use that tool, how to query the remote agents for its NLIP capabilities, and how to associate a friendly name with the URL. So let's look at a little more detail of those prompts. So the NLIP agent prompt, here's what we've taught all of the agents to teach them to be NLIP agents. We say, you are an NLIP agent, and then we define what NLIP is. And now we give it some very specific instructions about how to behave as an NLIP agent. All of this is in natural language. Say an NLIP agent, when defined, is given a system instruction that describes its unique capabilities. One of the first requests an NLIP agent will be asked to fulfill is to describe its NLIP capabilities. All right, And we say, when you are asked to describe your NLIP capabilities, you should respond with a response of the format. And we've given a very specific format, the agent and its name, and then a list of capabilities. And we give it some more details. We say where name is your name, capability 1, 2, and 3, our dictionary keys, and you should associate descriptions with each. It is important that you include your name, and it is important that the capabilities are described in a means that another LLM can understand them. So here we're teaching each of these agents how to respond to the query, what are your NLIP capabilities, and to tell it how to respond with its name and its capabilities. All right, so what do we teach the NLIP coordinator? And so here we give it a special coordinator prompt. So you are an advanced NLIP agent with the capability to speak to other NLIP agents. You have 2 tools for this purpose, connect to server and send to server. When you are asked to connect to a server at a specific URL, use the connect to server tool with the URL to establish a connection. Okay, that's how to use the first tool. If the response to that tool begins with connected to, then the connection is valid. Otherwise, it is not. For a valid connection, you should follow the connect to server tool call with a tool call of send to server to the same URL with the string, what are your NLIP capabilities? So here, what we've done is taught the coordinator agent how to implement a handshake, how to take a URL, query a remote agent for its capabilities, and add that to the conversation for the short-term memory of this agent. So to continue, it says the remote agent will respond with its name and capabilities. Take note of this information, especially the name. In future requests, if a user asks you to send a request to name, you should use the send to server tool with the URL associated with that name. So here we're teaching the coordinator agent how to associate a name with a URL and what to do with the send to server tool. All right, so by using natural language, so the components of this proof of concept, we have a natural language interface for exchanging natural language in a standard format over links. We've augmented these agents with instructions on how to behave as part of an NLIP network, and we've taught the NLIP coordinator agent how to interact with NLIP agents and how to use the client tools. So let's see this in action. All right, so here's a screenshot of the Kiwi Mach 2 client. It looks a little bit like a browser with a chat interface. So we've entered the URL of the coordinator agent in the top. That's NLIP scheffler.ngrok.io, and you can see that it's connected. And in the blue is what I typed. I said, hello, please describe your NLIP capabilities. And the coordinator agent said, oh, my name's Margaret, and I have the capabilities to connect to other agents, and I can query about their capabilities. What do you want to do? So then I typed, please connect to https mclarenscheffler.ngrok.io. Now this is the Alleycat agent that scraped the McLaren Labs website. And now we can see what the coordinator agent did. So I'll connect to that server for you. It calls the tool connect to server with the URL I gave it, sees that the connection is valid, and then follows that up with a query. What are your NLIP capabilities? So here you can see that the coordinator agent has implemented an agent handshake by establishing a connection, querying about its capabilities, and then receiving a response that includes its name and capabilities. And if you read further, you'll see the server hosts an agent named McLaren Labs, and it has the capabilities, natural language, information retrieval. Further on, you'd see that it knows about MIDI because that's what's in the vector database that we scraped. So let's see how we can use this. Well, now that McLaren Labs has been added to this session, I can ask my coordinator agent, I can say, can you ask McLaren Labs what RTP MIDI is? And so my coordinator agent knows that McLaren Labs is associated with the specific URL and formulates the tool call, what is RTP MIDI, and sends it to the appropriate server. And McLaren Labs responds with a definition. RTP MIDI is a protocol for transmitting MIDI events, et cetera, et cetera. All right, so now we have our front-end agent with one auxiliary agent helping it to understand about MIDI. But now let's expand our session to know about weather. So please connect to the weather server at https weather-scheffler.ngrok.io. And you can see that the coordinator is going to formulate the tool call for connect to server, sees that it's successful, and then formulates the request, what are your NLIP capabilities? And the weather agent responds. It says, my name is Weather. And here's what's very interesting. It says, I have the following capabilities. I can get the weather forecast. It says this agent can retrieve detailed weather forecasts for any location, but requires latitude and longitude coordinates to do so. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Let's just remember that. Get weather alerts. This agent can provide current weather alerts and warnings for any US state and requires the 2-state letter code. All right, good information. So now that I have that weather app client connected, I'll say, can you ask the weather agent what the forecast for Chicago is? And what's interesting is notice what the coordinator agent says. I'll ask the weather agent for the forecast for Chicago, but it notices that that agent needs latitude and longitude, so it formulates the request by sending the message, what is the weather forecast for Chicago at coordinates 41.87 by -87 latitude and longitude? And so the weather agent uses that to contact the weather.gov website, gets the forecast, returns it to the coordinator agent who responds. And I think this is very interesting. So we've had a coordinator agent, we've added 2 auxiliary agents. Our front agent has kept track of their URLs, their connection status, and has translated their names to the URLs to formulate queries. So we've implemented A-to-A capability query, adding it to the session using natural language and prompt construction and just a few tools. And the tools are what's stitching this all together is the power of NLIP. All of these agents and the chat interface are speaking the same protocol, so it's very easy to connect them together in this fashion. So that's a little demonstration of the vision of the NLIP project, an open interface for connecting chat applications and agents. If you want to learn more, you can look at our website, github.com, NLIP project. You can also look at the AI Alliance AlleyCat project. And if you're interested, get a hold of us. We have open meetings, and we're also writing specifications that are part of the ECMA Technical Committee 56, defining our open interfaces. Thanks for your attention. Bye.